Hi, welcome back to Wild Speculations. I'm Daniel.
I'm Scott.
This week we talk about Critical Role Campaign 2, Episode 85, The Threads Converge.
Yeah.
A predetermined title if ever there was one. Because I probably would have gone with something to do with probably Jester and her dad. But, I mean, that's partially my own bias, and Laura's my MVP for this episode, so.
Okay.
But right off the bat, pick up from where we left off, start of battle, roll initiative.
And enter a comedy of errors.
Yeah. And I don't want to say that I was especially saddened by it, but like, for me, it seemed predictable that what the players would do.
Yeah.
That the fight was gonna, and we even mentioned it, the fight was gonna be all, I'm readying my action, and it's reactions all day long.
Yeah.
And Matt didn't seem to have that prepped. Or didn't seem as prepared for it. As he has been in the past. So, but the dice weren't with them.
No.
At all.
No.
Especially, like, on my rewatch, I was sort of counting up how much damage Jester could have output in the second round of combat. With Spirit Guardians up, Spiritual Weapon, and Inflict Wounds.
Yeah.
Or no, that was a third round of combat.
Yeah.
But yeah, especially if Caduceus had
Path to the Grave.
Yeah.
Yeah, that could have been a lot of damage.
When they get that to go off, it's going to be fucking amazing.
Yeah.
But the big thing that I noticed, especially on my rewatch, but in the initial episode, I was like, why? Is when Matt starts talking about Pumat's soul, and that he's going to twin these spells, or he can cast them on two different people, and he mentions enchantment, the enchantment school ability, that you can cast
Double enchantment.
Yeah. And I was kind of like, what? I mean, yeah, that's a thing, but why would he be in an... And as the combat went on, and Matt kept making the same mistake, first with an illusion spell, then with a transmutation spell, I was like, okay, something else is going on here.
Yeah.
And that is, I don't think Pumat's soul should have been an enchanter. I think Matt made the mistake that a lot of people do, including me, that enchanting items equals the enchantment school.
Yeah.
And that is not the case.
Nope.
Enchantment magic school deals with mind affecting spells and abilities and stuff like that. And enchanting is just the term used for imbuing items with magic.
Yeah. Which is primarily going to be evocation or abjuration that you're using.
Right. Which is why I made the argument that Evoker would make more sense if he was going to use him in combat. But you bring up abjuration, and Abjurer is probably a better fit.
Yeah. For
what he does. Selling armor, bracers. He has a lot of armors in his shop.
Yeah, he's got more defensive stuff than offensive.
Right. And as Matt learned...
Although arguably he probably should be an artificer. That's the class that most deals with enchanting items.
In Eberron, yes. And they built it to do that.
General.
But Pumat is most definitely a wizard, especially by background. and the fact that he has Simulacrum. And Artificer is never going to have that.
Yeah.
Just because they're a half caster, so they can't get that high.
Right.
So yeah, that's why I say not Artificer.
Although I would have loved Sam's theory to have been right. For them to have just all been blood hunters, and each one just a different subclass.
It would have been funny. Unfortunately, the Simulacrum can't heal damage.
Right.
So all of their rights would eventually kill them.
Could be a shout out to Molly.
Yeah. Although interestingly, Pumat said that the other Pumats can't cast spells anymore.
Yeah.
Which means they've used up their spell slots. Because when you first create the Simulacrum, it does have spell slots.
Yeah. But how long ago were those created?
Yeah, who knows?
You know, it's actually more feasible that they don't have any spell slots left than that they have them.
Yeah, exactly. A lot of stepping on actions, reactions, confusing what's being done on both sides of the screen.
Yes, and that's why I made the comment about a comedy of errors. And, you know, I mean, it's happened to us. I've seen it happen multiple times, you know.
Yeah, and when you're in the moment, you often don't think about it.
Yeah. And, you know, for those of us that aren't Critical Role, it's a nice refresher that they're human too.
Yeah. One of the most interesting things that Matt did in this combat for me was the reaction mirror image mechanic that he used.
Yeah.
Because we talked about it last week. If this is supposed to be a solo encounter, it's got to have some ways to mitigate damage or, you know, stop attacks, or it's going to have legendary actions. No legendary actions.
But it did have the mirror image. It had the parry maneuver. It had shield. You know.
Shield.
He said at one point he cast shield, and that he may have referred to, but he said shield during one turn.
Because if she had shield, then she should have been casting it when Caleb was casting Magic Missile.
Yeah.
But
I don't know if that was like Magic Initiate.
Oh,
and they just had it the once.
Yeah. So, speaking of all the dice rolls, and this is sort of proof that everyone at the table is coming around to the dice cult. Because Sam's like, here, let me roll. And he starts rolling the dice that Laura doesn't want to get rid of because she loves it because it's pretty. And it's a special run. And Sam rolls it. He's like, oh, God, no. He throws it. And Travis is like, hey, give it to me. And they give it to him. He rolls natural 20. Rolls it again, 17. Rolls it again, 19. 15. You keep it. And I was like, did he just prove the seating theory that they have? That it's that side of the table and Marisha's seat in particular that is the hot seat.
Mm-hmm.
It's all confirmation bias in the end, anyway. But I just found it funny to do that. It rarely happens that happens. That someone's like, give me the die, and then they roll, and it's just good.
Yeah.
Yeah. The other big thing that happened in that fight, and it was Ford's MVP moment.
Yes.
In that combat, was casting Banishing Smite.
Yes.
And he read the whole thing, and it reads just exactly like banishment.
Mm-hmm.
And he says, did it bring it to less than 50 hit points? Yes, it did. It banishes it.
Yep.
Now, I don't know if this was a misread at the table
Okay.
for the K2 to return, or twist, the K2 is native to the material plane.
Yeah.
I mean, I almost, and the reason why I don't have a problem with that, or that information has been seeded
Mm-hmm.
as the correct choice in this debate, is its parts were here.
Yeah. Well, and for me, the K2 is a drow. And just because, its power, the deal between Lolth and Asmodeus could have been imbuing this drow, this adherent, with its abilities.
It's true.
Which would make it native to the material plane.
Right. So,
I mean, arguably it could be native to either or both. It could have dual citizenship.
well, strictly speaking, rules as written, it can't. 5th edition especially is you're one or the other. So, in the video, the timestamps on the video on YouTube, it says Liam is right about banishment. But he may not have been. Because if K2 is native to the material plane, then she's not going to hell or the abyss. She's coming back. So whether it's a misread of the spell and a misunderstanding on Matt's part, or she's native to the material plane, we have the result that she comes back only to do what we said she would do, which is GTFO.
Yep.
As soon as she's below half hit points, was my threshold in my head, she's out. So that brings us, well, I guess we should have started with this. Did Matt not go after Caduceus because he was being nice, or because the K2 wanted to get a taste of each of them?
Possibly the taste of each of them. Possibly, I know you made the argument that he's the main healer. You go after the healer first. It could be she wanted the surprise attack on him because he's the observant one. Try and take him out. Well, now I'm known. It doesn't matter who I attack.
That's true. But I don't know. She didn't seem to be trying to finish anyone. And part of that made it feel too gamey for me, I think. That she didn't come back, get Caduceus again.
Yeah.
In her first turn, before Pumat could cast Greater Invisibility on him. Now, the argument to that is she is safer in her hit and run if she doesn't hit the same person.
Yeah.
That's the argument against that. Her tactic is hit and run, so she's bang, 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 bang.
Yeah. My question was, why didn't she delay her action?
To win.
If I had been an assassin, I know they're all waiting. I'm gonna pause for a minute.
That would certainly have
upped the suspense.
Well, yes, but I don't think it would have done her any good. Because as it was, where do you delay? Because if she goes after Bo or before?
Well, if you delay until one of them does something, and then you attack that one that's not prepared.
Except the ready to action, like it can't be a ready to action. If she's delaying her turn, she's picking an initiative to go on. But if she can't ready an action because she's hidden.
Yeah.
And she's not hidden in a dark space, she's hidden in the ground. So the action can't be attack.
Right. Yeah, that's true.
So, and for her, it's, well, and the other thing we didn't see is her pop up and throw.
Yeah.
Which I think Matt is probably saving for the next time. Which may or may not be this week.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Caduceus goes defensive.
Mm-hmm.
Anti-life shell and I'm blanking on the name of the spell.
Death Ward.
Yes, thank you. I don't think that's the defense. Well, the Death Ward would work, but I don't think anti-life shell is the defense he was hoping it would be, because Kato Geist seems to be undead.
Yeah,
because she's spectral. Although we could be wrong in that.
Yeah.
Big opportunity missed in this fight. Bo actually hit with Flurry of Blows, but didn't extract aspects.
Yeah.
And I noticed it Thursday night, and on my rewatch, she realizes it, I think, 2 turns later.
Mm-hmm.
And it was after she didn't stun on her reaction.
Yeah.
Or on her turn. And it's like, okay, end of your turn, stun is gone. And then and then I think after that she started thinking, I also didn't extract aspects.
Yeah.
Especially when Caleb goes to grab, and she's immune to grapple. Yeah, a lot of frantic mulling about.
Yep.
Do you think that's just a +1 shield?
No.
Okay.
And the reason why I think it's not just a +1 shield is because he had to check on attunement.
Yeah, same. Same. I'm not sure what it is. Because nothing on it seemed to indicate. Because I don't think arrow catching is attunable, or you don't need to attune to it. Most of the really cool shields you have to attune.
Right.
But maybe it was just a +1, and he was just making sure.
Yeah.
Just because I think Matt had just a feeling in the back of his head going into the episode that he was going to mess something up.
Yeah.
Because he was really quick to apologize, and he kept going, and then he'd go and he'd get to the book and he'd find it.
Check that, look that up.
Yeah. And Travis, he's like, you don't even have his sheet in front of you.
Well, and at one point, it was happening so often that Lawrence is like, tell us what you think, Matt, and we'll go with that.
Yeah. But I think in that combat, rules at the table, the mechanics of the game, are there to protect both sides of the screen.
Yes.
And Matt had an encounter that if he did it wrong, could really have, like, the players could have really felt that they were getting hosed.
Yeah.
And I think he was extra worried about that.
Yeah.
Not about people yelling at him on the internet. He gets that enough.
Yeah.
But I think he didn't want to hose his players.
Yeah.
Or at least make them feel that they were being hosed.
That's definitely, what I was thinking. That's more,
Yeah. And more often than not, any mistakes that he does make are usually in the player's favor.
Right.
But in this situation, this encounter, as designed, it was really possible for him to just steamroll them and they not get to do anything. And he made the ruling.
Which may be why he didn't just keep going after one person, too.
Yeah. But he also said she rolled well enough on her stealth check. Her attack's going to happen before your reactions.
Yeah.
And the following round, she rolled a natural 1, so he let them all get their reactions in before her attack, which stopped her.
Yeah.
Like that probably saved Ford's bacon.
Yeah.
Because I think that's who she was going for. So, yeah, I think that's why he was checking the books as much.
So in the battle, I like the comment: 40 damage from one dagger. We're being attacked by Vax.
Yeah, and they basically were.
Yeah.
And I love
Liam. You were the template for the screen.
I love Travis's. It's a rogue fighter because she's using parry and stuff like that. And no, not necessarily. She's just a monster. Because if she was a 20th level assassin, Nott would definitely be dead.
Yeah.
Because the assassinate feature at 17th, 18th level, something like that, you reduce them to 0 hit points, they die.
Mm-hmm.
No saves, no nothing, no overflow damage. They're dead.
Yeah.
So they should be grateful that she's a monster and not a PC or not an NPC with PC levels. The way Pumat seems to be.
And Gilmore was, and
right.
Kima and all of them.
Right. After the battle, they force themselves onto Pumat to take a short rest.
Yes.
And I noticed something on the rewatch that I didn't Thursday.
Okay.
And that is how Caleb was using his spell slots. And I think this again goes to how combat is a role play.
Mm-hmm.
Caleb was only casting 3rd levels. Well, his combat magic missile he cast at 3rd level, and greater invisibility is 4th level, I think.
Mm-hmm.
4th or 5th level. But he's using his spell slots in a way that he can get them back in a short rest. So basically, because after that short rest, Caleb was only down 2 slots instead of 3 or 4. Because I think his last magic missile he cast at 5th level.
Mm-hmm. Well, no, he didn't cast it. He was going to cast it at 5th level.
And there's like, no, you held this, so and it's a reaction. So that's right. So, and Jester, conversely, 5th level, 5th level, 4th level, 4th level. First 2 rounds of combat, all of her upper end spells are gone. Now, again, if she had been able to connect with them,
the fight would have been over a lot sooner.
Yeah, the Kato Geist would not have gotten 5 rounds of combat out of that. One thing that they didn't mention, but probably wouldn't have mattered, is the fact that spiritual guardians the terrain is difficult terrain.
Mm.
The Caedogeist is a rogue that can move through objects and doesn't seem to care if she's underground. So at most, she's only using like 5 feet of movement to come in and out. So she's got the move. We saw a benefit of Sentinel this episode. Unfortunately, technically, Bo did not have the reaction to make the attack.
Yep.
Because she had used her reaction to make her attack when she appeared.
Yep.
But the attack didn't hit. She got away. Doesn't matter. So those kind of mistakes are always a wash.
Yeah.
In my opinion, anyway. But a lot of great moments also where they're like, Nog has initiative. I'm getting up on the table. And Laura's like, I was going to do that.
Yeah.
So it's like, get up high. And in some senses, like, even if she can't see through it, because that's why Matt was doing it. He's assuming she can't. She can see through the floor, but maybe not through the table. So I'm going to hide on the table. But even that, you have that extra, 4 feet, 3 to 4 feet of reaction time.
Yeah.
When they come out. So I don't know. I don't know if I would have tried to argue disadvantage on her stealth check or advantage on my perception check for that change. It depends on how badly we're getting our asses kicked. If I argue that or not.
Yeah.
But
yeah, short rest. They discuss where to go. Decide to go see the gentleman. And
they finally talk about what we talked about when Jester first floated the idea of appearing to her father as Miriam.
Yeah, first they get Jester to admit that he doesn't believe.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then they have a long discussion over who gets to try to seduce the gentleman. Whether Jester should, if it should be Ford or Caleb trying it, so that it's not his potential daughter.
Yeah. Yeah. And I did love, like, Marisha was probably my favorite part of that scene.
Yeah.
Because she was saying everything that we had said, basically.
Yeah.
Look, this is why you got kicked out of Nicodranus. You shouldn't be doing this. And, just everything about this is, I have a bad feeling about this.
Creepy or bad. Every single thing about this plan.
Yeah. And I loved this when they started role-playing and Not's like, you're not my daughter. And she starts crying and she's like, he's not going to say that. It's like, cut to him saying exactly that.
Yes.
Also, almost went by it. The in-universe Big Lebowski moment.
Yep.
Yeah, the rug really brings the room together. I love that. I had to call it out. But yeah,
So, yeah, we get to the gentleman.
Yep.
We immediately get all the insight checks.
And of course, Caduceus gets a 22, I think, on his initial one.
Yeah.
And then a 27 later.
And then 25. And
yeah.
And Sam, just DM from Talison's lap. Just stay there.
First time we've had a earmuff moment.
Yes. Which was nice. Let the audience in on the whisper.
Yeah, that was... Yeah. And I'd like to know why Matt did that this time.
Because he had already gotten up and walked across the table 4 times. He didn't want to do it again. I honestly think that was it, because you see him like start to move like he's gonna get up, and he's like, "No, you know what? Everyone."
Well, I think he did that because it was a narrative thing that we, the audience, would like to have known. Like, it's sort of what the camera sees versus what the characters see.
Okay.
I think that's why he did it there.
I think that was like the deciding factor, possibly. But I think he's like, do I really want to get up and walk across there again in this short of time? No, this is something the audience can,
Yeah. We also get Marisha trolling Matt. Do you know who's on the Tal'Dorei Council?
I think we're going to be seeing a lot of that until they get an answer.
Yeah. In fact, yeah.
To a degree, it's Matt's fault.
Because he brought Allura in?
He brought Allura in. It was never an issue until she showed up.
Yep. And it's definitely a case of the players, the meta gaming, wanting to get that info.
He put the can of worms on the table. They're trying to open it.
Right. But conversely, this does play into what I've been mentioning in the last couple of weeks, which is if they are going to succeed in their grand plan of stopping the war between the Empire and Jurahas and bringing them together to fight this common thing, that they have to get more political.
Yeah.
Studying a foreign government is a nice way to do that.
Yeah.
And the Tal'Dorei Council is arguably a good model for Wildemount to have. That they form like a Wildemount council that deals with stuff that affects the entire continent.
Yeah. Yeah, that could be.
And that was sort of in place already in the first campaign as part of, the world building in Tal'Dorei.
Yeah.
And the sovereign in his position. Which the Blood War was back then too.
Yeah. Yes, it was.
Which Matt has talked about in the past. But we also get Matt giving them what this job has been. Or maybe the jobs have changed depending on when they were going to be there. But Matt says, or the gentleman says, yeah, I have a delivery I need you to take north.
Yeah.
To Shady Creek Run. And in their mind, it's a piddly amount of gold. But the gold isn't the reason they need to go up there. The reason they need to go up there is because Caduceus has the medicine for the grove. Which is why I was like smacking my head when he's like, can you have someone go in and look in on it, on the place? I'm like, he just tried to hire you to go up there.
Yeah.
Take the job. Go. Getting there, and
Caleb offers to do the job for the names of the Tal'Dorei Council.
Well, yeah, and that was just Liam piling on.
Yeah,
I think.
Yeah, it was.
And Sam saved it by saying, or any other information that might be pertinent. We also get a Widow Jest moment, which I was very happy about, where Caleb asked the bartender for milk to try to console Jester.
Yeah.
And takes the hit for her by drinking the clotted milk. That was stepped on by Taliesin, who had also stepped on Beauregard's moment earlier in the episode. Now, I don't think it was necessarily a bad thing in the case of Bo and Jester. I thought that was a nice bookend, almost a wipe sort of a thing in this scene.
Mm-hmm.
And to also to ensure narrative secrecy.
Right.
Because he says, ever since she's got those robes, she's really been taking charge. And then they sort of cut and go back to the girls, where we can say, or they can say, that they continued that conversation whilst the girls were having theirs. And I think that maybe Taliesin did it because his default position has been, I'm Caduceus, I hear everything, I see everything. So I think if someone's wanting privacy, I think he's starting to do this in his head, which also is why he did it in the following scene. When he saw them all over there, Caleb's with Jester. Ford presumably is there too.
Yeah.
Because Ford really didn't pick a place to go. And Not and Bo go to the bar, so he says, I'm doing this. So I think while it was kind of rude, and Liam even sort of called him out on it in the moment, I think that was Taliesin ensuring to himself and everyone else that he wasn't going to hear these conversations. Ham-handed, perhaps, and borderline rude, especially with Liam, because he basically butted in.
Yeah.
As soon as the period in his sentence was there, he was in there before he could go on. But again, that almost is also a good narrative tension point in a weird way, because they started doing this, and they had been trying to console Jester before this. Why would you want to be somebody who doesn't want anything to do with you? And I think in some ways, that was the perfect time to do it. On my rewatch, I realized this. Because the scene works much better if Caduceus does it then than if he does it after. Or if he says, while that was happening, I was doing this, or could I have done this? It almost works better that he butts that in.
Yeah.
Even though, as a Widow Jest fan, I was annoyed in the moment. But we have another ship that formed, or that set sail, perhaps, is a better way to put that, with Nott and Bo at the bar.
Yes.
Sharing secrets.
Nott and Caleb.
Yeah. And, well, Sam has sort of alluded to that.
Yeah, no, that was more of
in a
joke,
Talks.
because I know who you were talking about.
Yeah. Well, we can get to, well, Jester, Nott and Caleb are the easy and fast one to talk about, and then we can get into Jester and Bo, or Bo and Jester. Which really, I have my own theories on. But Nott's like, I've never, I'm a very happily married woman, and I had not looked at another man like that. I never have. And Laura and Taliesin both are like, the Minotaur.
Yeah.
And Bo didn't call her on it, which I kind of wish she had. Because it would have been funny to watch Sam squirm. But...
Well, there's a difference between attraction and pure lust.
It's true. But then Bo says, I have the same problem. She's like, well, you like Caleb too? She's like, no. She's like,
me? It's me!
Yeah. No, it's Jester. And I kind of saw that coming.
Yeah.
Because when they were getting tattoos, Marisha made the point of saying that Bo tries to make like she's not looking. Which means, I mean, Bo definitely has a type.
Yeah.
And Yasha and Jester are in that vein.
Yeah.
But I think...
And Rainey and Keg.
Well, Rainey's actually was outside of the... Because the type that what I was alluding to is what Travis was saying, which was, the swole type.
Mm.
And Rainey had the attitude
mm-hmm.
that Bo likes. But yeah, but I think her infatuation with Jester has been given room because Yasha's not around.
Yeah. And see, I think her type is more just the aggressive.
Fair.
Jester's very aggressive in combat. She doesn't want to be the healer. She wants to be the attacker.
Yeah.
Keg was a combatant. Rainey's like, they gotta die. Yasha is a barbarian, for Christ's sake.
Aggressive and they gotta die.
So they're all in that aggressive vein to one degree or another.
It's fair, yeah.
And she's already transposed her mentor as a booty call and been like, hey, if you want, and that's the person that kicks the shit out of her on a regular basis.
Yeah.
That's Bo's type.
Okay, yeah, you're right. That's fair, yeah. But yeah, I really think that the reason why she's giving this voice is because Yasha hasn't been around.
Yeah.
And also, I don't know if Ashley's coming back this week or next week or maybe the week after, but it's got to be in the next 2 to 4 weeks.
It's going to be before TravelerCon.
Yeah. Which, yeah. Yeah. But that will be an interesting point of tension when Yasha's back. Is that Not is now working to hook up Jester and Bo. Because of course she is. Which was probably the funniest moment of the episode.
Yeah. I'll do some more. No! I throw a coin at you. Fuck my ear.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm more interested to see, and this wasn't mentioned. This was mentioned the previous episode. But when Bo and Nod are talking, and they first talk about the confiding, they talk about Ford and Jester. And Nod says, oh, I think Ford likes Jester too. Oh, really? I'll check in with him on that. I haven't checked in with him for a while. And if she's got this, is she going to be the friend who's going to sabotage to get her shot? That's the interesting point for me.
Oh, she could. Well,
or is she going to not do anything?
If it's traditional Bo, she will sabotage.
Yes.
If it is Bo, it's trying to grow. It's going to be more along the lines of, do you have feelings for her? Because if you don't,
I'm going. Yes. And that's what I want to see how that plays out.
Huh. Yeah. Even though, again, I think the better match is Caleb. It's
We've already seen a vision. Ford and Jester have a kid.
No. A half-orc and a blue tiefling have a kid.
Exactly.
Go
look at Jester's or Laura's face when he does that and tell me that.
Well, no, you're right. And they said that was how they were announced. They said that they were going to have the baby. But that blue tiefling did not speak that way.
It's true.
But yeah, anyway, they bed down. Matt wants to set the scene of the gentleman coming and looking in on Jester.
Yeah.
And upsets Liam. Because he had made a point earlier to say, we're taking watches.
Yes.
And he was about to say...
No more going in separate rooms. We're all together all the time. We're always doing watches.
Yeah. And that was basically not registered or ignored. But Liam and Matt didn't ask, okay, who's taking the first watch? And Liam didn't get a chance to pop in and say who's on first watch. It's neither here nor there. I can understand Liam's point in the moment, especially because Caleb is so paranoid.
Right.
And I think that's a little bit of character bleed.
Well, and they had every right to be paranoid at that point in time.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah, you're not paranoid that everyone's trying to kill you if someone's trying to kill you.
Yes.
But Jester has her chat with the gentleman.
Yep.
Where he basically acknowledges being her sire.
Yes.
He says, I'm not your father. You can't be a father if you're not around.
Yeah.
We get his backstory, which sounded very much like Wesley and Buttercup.
Yep.
But much longer than 5 years.
Yeah. And Buttercup took a different path.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, so that was interesting. But she floats the idea, well, why don't you just get on a boat and go far away?
Travelicon.
And he's like, well, that's a nice dream. And I'm just like, it's not a dream. She has a boat, and her cult is taking over an island. Like, you can literally get on the boat and go away.
Yes.
But it got me thinking that we talked about how the Ruby seemed agoraphobic.
Mm-hmm.
What if the root of that began with her being afraid to leave the chateau in case he came back and she wasn't there?
Yeah.
Like that conversation recontextualized that whole thing for me.
Yep. Me too.
And I was like, oh, that's rough.
Yeah. That thought occurred to me when Jester says, I wish I had known her before you did. Yeah. Because she was never the same after that.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh shit.
Yeah.
So that's where that occurred to me.
Yeah. So we'll see if Jester can really start. Oh, yeah, basically. Yeah.
I mean, she's already got the duplicate.
Yeah. Yeah. But they go to after a stop off in the Pillar Trove to pick up their mail.
Yes.
Which was very quick, and I don't know. I don't think it had any much bearing on anything other than a callback to earlier activity,
right? And
a potential in if they wanted to try to use it. But that's a trap.
Oh
yeah. If they use that, they're going into a dungeon.
Yeah.
But they get to Rexentrim, and it's under attack by the Kreen. On Wormback.
Mm-hmm.
And basically Matt just shotgunned them problems. There's no way you can see to everything that's going on here.
Yes.
You are going to have to choose.
You got the Krenin attack. You've got Oban's there with his crew. You've got
The political machinations that you need to get. So you've got the Crown Council, the Cathedral of the Dawn, and whatever this worm attack is. Which is obviously going for the beacon.
Yeah.
It has to be.
Mm-hmm.
So, because
another thing, we hear the town crier. And this is just harkening back to a point I made. Ashgard Garrison is now back in control of the Empire. I'm telling you now, that location is where they're going to end up. I don't know if that's where,
the Tarrasque comes out of the mountain.
Right. Or what.
Yeah.
But there is something, the demon mechanicians, the blood war mechanicians are using these battles, as a large-scale blood sacrifice. Someone is.
I wasn't going there. I would think that it was just important, ley line wise.
It could be just that, but I'm thinking, maybe not the demon, but someone is using it, full-scale blood sacrifice going on.
That's fair. So, the Cathedral of the Dawn. They scry on Vince. Mm-hmm. And Vince is going in a cathedral, and he meets with a cardinal. A woman.
Yes.
And seems to be a corrupted cardinal. Corrupted by trying to search out forbidden knowledges.
Yeah. I've played Warhammer Fantasy. The forbidden knowledge will get you every time.
Well, it is funny because that whole scene reminded me of Kai Wynn in Deep Space Nine. Mm-hmm. And Vince seems like her Gold Dukat.
Yeah. Because
he's not just some lackey, as Ormid characterized him as. Mm-hmm. The lackey? And that's basically what Gold Dukat came into Kai Wynn's life as. The simple farmer.
Yeah.
And basically was kissing her ass and doing her toady work. So long as she was pursuing the Pa-Wraith knowledges. And reading text that only the Kai could read.
Yep.
And the other, the reason why he's not just a lackey is Oban considers him an equal.
Yeah.
So he's not just some toady. He's got to be. I don't know if he is a devil or an extraplanar entity. He may just be like the high priest of Thera's Doom on the material plane.
Yeah.
And we may have met one of his contemporaries already. The human priest wearing the Knoll skin, who was leading the Knolls.
Yep.
An unusual situation. So I don't know if we'll ever get that tie-in officially confirmed, but that's sort of where my mind is. Mm-hmm. But I think, he's corrupted this cardinal lady, and he'll take her orders, but she's putting his device where he wants.
Yeah.
And because she says, how is the translation coming? But I wanted to give a shout out to you because this was sort of the foundation of your one shot that we played.
Yeah.
The Horn of Orcus that the Platinum Dragon Sanctuary in Vasselheim has.
Mm-hmm.
And that in the book, Matt says he knows where the other horn is.
Yeah.
What if the other horn is in that cathedral in
Possibly, yeah.
And she's trying to figure out what it can it do, or how can it be destroyed, or she's doing some kind of research on it. And that's what's got her corrupted. That's what started her. So I'm interested to see if they delve into the bowels of this cathedral and find the Horn of Orcus.
Yeah.
Or a Horn of Orcus.
Yeah, that'll be interesting.
Any predictions last few minutes? I mean, they ignored the purple worm attack.
Right? Yeah, they're ignoring the worm attack. They're going after Oban.
Well, they're going after Vince. They don't actually know where Oban is. And Oban was not with Vince.
No.
So Oban is doing something else with Yasha, the Laughing Hand.
Right.
So
they either go there to where Vince is, or they scry again and go to where
Yasha
Oban is, depending on if Ashley's back next week.
Fair.
I've been expecting her back each week for a couple of weeks now, because I know. Well, I don't know 100%, but I'm pretty sure she's back in LA already.
Okay.
You know, just from some things I've seen from her and from Brian, and online. I'm pretty sure.
Well, he was pretty coy last week on Talks.
Yeah.
I'm
pretty sure she's back in town, and it's just a matter of what time she needs to recuperate from all the travel and all the stuff before she jumps back in. You know what I'm saying? Like last time, she took a week or two off before she jumped in again.
Yeah.
So I've
if that is the case, is she in the back room watching?
Could be. Although I don't think so. Because she's probably with Brian watching, and Brian has stated he watches from home.
That's fair. Yeah.
So she's probably curled up on the couch with him watching.
If the possibility that they go to save Yasha, is she in the studio watching?
I think that's possible, but I think that's what next week will be.
Okay.
I think next week she will be there in case they go to where she and Oban are, and then she can come out.
Well, yeah, because I don't see how they can do all three things. And I think Vince and Oban are doing two different things.
Mm-hmm.
Which means you have, and Vince and the Cardinal know that this attack is a diversion.
Mm-hmm.
But they think it's for whatever they are going to be doing.
Right. And the fact that they said that while they were scrying is why they're going to just disregard the worm attack.
Yeah.
Why waste our energy there? It's just a diversion.
Right. What do you think Oban is doing here? His target has to be the cathedral, right? Has to be.
Yeah.
Or the Cobalt Soul.
Or the Cerberus Academy.
Attacking the Academy doesn't get him anything. He's looking to unchain Ferrisdu, which means he has to break these things. So maybe the first anchor that he has to break is in the cathedral in Rexington.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's in the palace.
Yeah.
It could also be there. Or maybe killing somebody at a particular location will taint it and break it. Or any number of these things could be the key. But that's my speculation of what's
Okay.
going to happen next week or this week.
Yeah. I really want to say they're going to end up wherever Oban is, and
You think they kill the Laughing Hand then?
Yeah.
Same. But we will have to wait and see for next week. We're going to enjoy talks and have a good night, everyone.
Bye.